Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, here with the Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. This is episode 92 review. So Vicky is sitting outside the office of Gardner and Gardner uh, when Frank Gardner's tells the secretary to let her come in. So she comes in. This is Richard Gardner, who is one half of Gardner and Gardner. The other half of Gardner is Richard's son, Frank. It used to be Richard's brother until he passed away some time ago. So Vicky, seems to think that Mrs. Stoddard is hiding something from her, and she even tells that to Richard. She also basically tells Richard, look, if if my father were a murderer, if he had did something very bad, that would be reason to keep it from me. So Vicky sort of expects the worst from her dad. Um, Richard sort of reassures her, oh, that can't be the case. He doesn't feel that that's something she needs to worry about, though he doesn't give a reason. I do find that this is where, when you're watching this episode and you hear Richard say that to her, it's like, okay, this gives Vicky sort of even more reason to suspect something is being hidden from her, because you're saying, oh, she shouldn't need to worry, she doesn't need to worry about that, or she shouldn't worry about that. Well, why shouldn't she? I mean, you're an attorney for the Collins family, and you're telling this woman what not to worry about concerning her father. She showed him the payroll form of B. Hanscom. Um, and the Vicky remembers that there was a Betty Hanscom that was mentioned by Sam Evans when she was at the Evans cottage for dinner. But Richard seems to think this isn't a Betty Hanscom. This is another B. Hanscom that was, I think he said, a chauffeur, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you also get to meet Richard's son, Frank, in this very episode. And Richard has things to do, court case. Um, so Frank decides to listen to Victoria's story. Um, and so Frank says, I'll do what I can to try to, I'll look through our records and see if there's a B. Hanscom. We always keep everything, so it's bound to be here. At least that's what he tells Vicky, and he is telling her the truth. It's just he can't find it. Vicky goes to the Bangor Hotel to have dinner. She orders a grilled cheese sandwich. Burke joins her, and Burke is realizing she didn't find out anything. He tells her, you can trust me. Vicky says that she believes the Collins family is hiding something from her, or there seems to be a conspiracy against her concerning them, that they don't want her to find out who she is. So Vicky is still suspicious of Elizabeth and Roger, that they are lying to her. And she has the right feeling. Burke would like to think he and Vicky are friends. You only get 2 set locations for this episode. You get the Gardner and Gardner office inside, like outside, just outside the office, and you get inside of Richard Gardner's office. It's a nice set design, and you also get the Bangor inside the Bangor Hotel. Beautiful set design for that one too. It's very different than the Collinsport Hotel. It seems a lot bigger. It's a lot more fancier than what the Collinsport has. It's an all too reminder of how big a town Bangor is and how small of a town Collinsport is. And I love it for that. Cy Thomasoff nails the set designs 1000%. What a master craftsman. There's not a lot in this episode, too. There's just conversations of Vicky tells Burke, you were making a lot of threats, and toward the Collins family. And Burke says, well, I didn't, they may have sounded like threats, but I didn't mean to make them sound like threats. They were warnings toward her that he doesn't want to see her hurt either. It's weird how two different people, like Liz and Burke, both don't want to see Vicky hurt, yet Vicky is in many ways, though she's not trying to be in the middle of things, she finds herself in the middle of these two huge names, Collins and Devlin, as my dog is going to bark here. So Burke leaves for a business meeting. Frank, though he did order a grilled cheese like Vicky and a coffee, Frank comes into the Bangor Hotel. Burke leaves for his meeting. He's going to drive Vicky home later with him, and Vicky realizes Frank didn't find anything. He goes, no, I didn't, but I'm still going to look. He goes, there's a lot of files. He just feels that he didn't search through all of them yet, and he didn't. But his dad is also, you have two different, again, I've talked about two different people. You have, because Frank promises to do everything he can for Vicky to help her. And he does. He is going to try. And he does try here. But you also have Richard Gardner, who he represents the Collins family. And Gardner represent the Collins family. And he's going to do everything he can to protect his client. And his client, he doesn't remind his son in this episode, but I think it's in the next episode, he's going to remind his son, hey, our client is Elizabeth Collins' daughter, not Victoria Winters. And Richard is all too keen on that he knows who he represents. He doesn't represent Victoria Winters. He represents the Collins family. So he has their best interest at heart and no one else's in this matter, no matter where it may lead. I'm not trying to nitpick, but I do sort of wish Vicky would have pressed a little harder when he said, oh, you don't need to worry about that sort of thing with your dad. Like, okay, why would you say that? That's something I wish the writers would have had her press a little harder on. But again, they don't. So, again, you have a lot of great acting in this episode. Alexander does a great job as always. And again, you have Burke, who, though he is Vicky's friend, is still trying to do the Collins family in. And yes, Frank is aware of Burke Devlin and aware of what he allegedly did. We know he didn't do it, the manslaughter thing. So I know this is a short recording, so I apologize for that. That's the entire episode. Again, there's not a lot to this episode. You do get two new characters in the Gardner lawyers. You get two set locations. You don't hear Elizabeth in this episode, but Elizabeth is not only mentioned, but she's spoken to by Richard over the phone, though you don't see it. Joan Bennett isn't literally in this episode, and neither is Roger. Their names are mentioned and they're spoken to, but we don't actually see Lewis Edmonds nor Joan Bennett in this episode. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a great day. See you later tonight.